Back again with another Q&A. I didn't think that I would do another one of these, to be honest, but so many people wanted me to do another one, so let's go. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ari. Here on this channel, I talk about all things small business, entrepreneurship, pop-ups, craft fairs, and things of the sort. You are in for a wild ride today. I am doing a Q&A, which is my second ever Q&A. I honestly didn't think that I'll ever be doing one of these again, but it was something that a lot of people inquired about. They're like, when's the next Q&A gonna be? Can you do a quick Q&A? Can you do a Q&A? Can you do a Q&A? And I was like, y'all, I guess it's time for another Q&A. I did a poll asking everyone what the next video they want to see. Ooh, y'all, this glare is crazy. Anyways, I asked everyone what type of video they wanted to see next, and I think I gave the option of a Q&A and then 7 tips for small business owners, and I think 7 essential items that you should bring to pop-up shops. I could be wrong about those questions, but anyways, everyone chose Q&A. That was the majority. So here we are today with another Q&A. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into it because I have gotten a ton of questions. I did not expect to get as many as I did. I feel like I said this the last time I did a Q&A, but yeah, I have so many questions, so I'm excited to get to them. I haven't really studied any of them, so this should be interesting. Let's go. I'm gonna start with Instagram first. So I did an Instagram story asking everyone to ask me questions. So these are the questions from the Instagram story. Hey, Nora. I should say that I'm a mama by day and a small business owner by nap time. As you can tell, it is not nap time. Nap time is few and far between, so I kind of have to make do with little pockets of time that I have when Nora is occupied. So right now she is occupied. I have gotten her back situated, so hopefully she doesn't barge in again. Let's go. So getting started with the Instagram questions, the very first question is, best advice you wish you'd been given when getting started? I feel like all the advice that I had was really good advice. I don't think that I can currently think of anything else that would have been necessarily like better advice. Yeah, I truly do appreciate any advice that people gave me from the start because I really did hold on to it and I was able to maneuver from there. I mean, there are things that I learned that people didn't tell me, but I feel like that was just a part of my process and a part of my experience that, you know, hopefully I'll be able to help contribute to someone else's journey, if that makes sense. Next question is, which bookmarker do you sell the most? What is a good book for summer reading? So the bookmark that I sell the absolute most of is my Strawberry Daisy. My Strawberry Daisy is my absolute #1 seller, whether that be on my Etsy shop or at pop-up shops. Like, people love my Strawberry Daisy bookmark. It was my very first bookmark that I ever created as far as my beaded collection. Whenever I had the vision, I just knew that it was gonna be a bestseller because strawberries are just in right now. Like, everybody loves strawberries, it seems, and the whole cottagecore theme is really a thing, and the Strawberry Daisy just fits into that. As far as a good summer book, I would recommend, I can't remember the exact name of the book that I'm gonna recommend, but I remember the author, which is crazy to me because I'm horrible with names. So the author is Ellen Hildebrand, if I'm right. I really liked her book. What is the name of it? I can't remember the name of it. So hopefully I can find it and I can put it like somewhere on the screen. This was one of the very first books that I read of hers and the only book that I've read, but it's such a light, no, it's not a light book. The ending, oh, y'all, you just have to read it. It's a good book. It's a good book. I will say that. I rated it 5 stars and it was one of the very first books that got me into reading. I will say that this is definitely like a beach read, but it will make you cry. Next question is, do you have any tips for work/mom life balance? Any tips for work and mom life balance? Honestly, I would say just prioritize you and your family first, and then business comes second. I recently started doing this more intentionally. Like, I feel like I was doing this before, but whenever I move with actual intention, like I'm gonna get everything done with my family first, whether that be my chores, cooking dinner, and XYZ before I worry about my business, it has just allowed me to be more organized and more at ease. It just seems like everything just flows better because I'm not really putting as much pressure on myself. I'm trying to definitely remember that my small business is a small business. Like, it's gonna take time for me to grow, but at the same time, like, my primary focus is my family right now. So I'm moving in that way, and with moving that way, I feel like my business has actually just fallen in line. It hasn't become stagnant or anything. It's growing with me. Like, I'm growing as a wife, as a mother, as an individual, and with me is my business, just not far behind. So I would say a tip would be to, put your family first and then put work next. Being a mom is mission work. So you have to take that into consideration. It's like, would you rather put work first or would you put being a mother first? And for me, it's always, I'm gonna be a mother first before I put my business first, if that makes sense. I know a lot of people don't have that luxury to be able to focus on family first, but because I do in this current season, that is my new kind of motto. I am putting my family first and then my business is second. Next question. Hey mama, what is your favorite way to love on your small business? Love your vids. Thank you so much. So my favorite way to love on my small business is just being organized. Whenever I'm organized, I can be more intentional with my business. I can show up for my business. I can track where my finances are going. I can track what is a bestseller, what isn't selling well. So that is how I love on my business. It's just like by being intentional with it. Being intentional with my finances, intentional with my time, intentional with my organization. Next question is, how do you manage your time? I feel I have no life anymore. I'm either posting or doing inventory. Managing my time goes back to number one, my priorities, and being sure that I have my priorities straight. And then number two of just managing my time and managing it well is just staying organized and having a calendar, having some type of system. That's honestly how I manage my time. It's like having a system, staying true to it, being diligent, being obedient, and being disciplined, really. It's hard work. This is from the same person. What are your thoughts about running sales? My customers only buy if I have a huge sale. Ooh. Let's see. I personally haven't ran any huge sales on my Etsy shop, but I have had sales or have ran a sale on, like, in person at my pop-ups. My thoughts about sales are, for me personally, I run a sale if I'm trying to get things out. So I either, no longer want this specific item in my store, or that's the main reason why I run sales. But I feel like they're necessary if you do want to get things, inventory off of your hands. But when you're saying that your customers only buy if you have a huge sale, first of all, I'm sorry about that. I wish that wasn't the case, but I personally, I would just take into account, like, if people are only buying my products when I have a huge sale, maybe my price range, or maybe my items are listed at too high of a price for my customer, and just really reevaluate how you are pricing items and what you want your profit margin to be. I would do that first and foremost. Hey, Nora. She's about to come in. 1 second. Back again. Let's get into these YouTube questions. Are there any new spring/summer collections we should keep an eye out on for Petal Pink Gems? Yes. If you know me, you know that Bridgerton is literally one of my favorite shows. Specifically the first season, minus all the spicy scenes. Like I literally fast forward through those, but the imagery and the florals, the time period, all of that I love about Bridgerton. So I figured that it is only right that I make a Bridgerton themed bookmark kind of collection. So hopefully that comes my, I'm getting way too ahead of myself. So I placed an order with one of my suppliers and I bought a whole bunch of beads and different pendants for this collection. So you can look forward to this collection hopefully coming out towards the end of May. I haven't gotten these materials yet, so that's what I'm waiting on. I have everything written up as far as my vision for the collection. I'm so excited to get these new materials in so I can play around with them and really create what I had in mind. I hope it comes out correctly. If it does, then a collection will drop. But yeah, that's where I'm sitting right now as far as a collection. And then I also have a Western collection coming up. If you've been here for a while, you know that I've done basically like cowgirl hat, car charms. I took a step back from those and now I was like, what am I gonna do with all these cowgirl hats? So I had an idea, and long story short, I'm gonna be making cowgirl hat bookmarks. I tested it out and it's gonna work. It's gonna be fantastic. I feel like this is gonna be another one of those bestsellers. So I'm very hopeful about these upcoming bookmarks. And then I'm also going to be making like a beaded collection with the cowgirl theme. So look out for that this summer. What does your daily routine look like? I would love to see a video on this. I feel like anyone who's a stay-at-home mom knows that our routine is literally, it can be up to our child, you know, depending on the day. I like to try to stay on a routine, so it's kind of like your usual, your basic, wake up, make up the bed. For me, I use the restroom, get myself together, and then we immediately go, oh, wow, let me go back. So I wake up and then I look at my monitor. If Nora's up, I'm like, okay, the baby's up. And I normally run into her nursery. And I'm like, hi, baby. And then she like screams and I pick her up out the crib. And then we'll lay in the bed for a little bit. Yeah, we'll lay in the bed for a little bit, either FaceTime my mom or my sister. And then after that, it's time to get up and I ask her, like, you got pee-pee on the potty? We're working on being potty trained right now, but anyways, more times than not right now, she doesn't. She just needs her diaper change. So I get myself together, you know, wash my face, brush my teeth, just get myself, you know, kind of halfway decent. And then we go to her nursery, I change her diaper. And then after that, we get into breakfast, and then it's just stuff in between there. We'll do different activities like story time or music class. We'll go to the park, come back, lunch, nap time, and then the day kind of just flies by after that. So in between that, around like nap time and before my husband gets home, we kind of have, it just depends on how the day goes. So like right now I am filming and Nora is getting her very minimal screen time, watching Chosen Kids or Mino Kids Bible. I love those two YouTube channels. But anyways, yeah, so we have a little bit of downtime and then my husband comes home and we'll do dinner and sometimes we'll go outside to play. And I just realized that I missed a whole bunch of things in between. So sometimes I like to work out. Yeah, it just depends on the day. The routine looks different almost every single day if I'm being honest. But yeah, I might do a video on this, but I don't know. I feel like my audience might not be into that. Let me know in the comments if you are into stuff like that, and maybe I could start off with a short or a reel, just going into detail of life as a mompreneur. The next question is, hi, what do you feel like your greatest accomplishment has been since starting your own business? Do you think you will entertain the idea of having your own website in the future? Oh, there's a lot more questions, so I'm just gonna answer each question one at a time. So, What do you feel like your greatest accomplishment has been since starting your own business? I would say contributing to my family financially and being able to stay at home with my daughter during the week. That was literally my biggest goal. I didn't want to return to work, so I didn't have to. Like, my husband is a great provider, but I, as an individual, wanted to contribute to my family. And for me personally, I was like, how can I contribute in a way that I would have if I would have stayed working part-time? Yeah, that's my biggest accomplishment so far. Next question from the same person. Do you think you will entertain the idea of having your own website in the future? Yes, definitely entertain it 100%. I should have one like today, my own website. I need to make my own website. It just seems so daunting to create one, to have to create one. So it's more about me just dragging my feet at this point. It is something that I need to do, like tomorrow, like tonight. But yeah. Do you sometimes experience mental roadblocks when it comes to creating new products? Oh, yes, I do. And whenever it gets to that point, I sit back and think like maybe I don't need to make any new products right now. If I'm having roadblocks at that point, it seems like maybe I'm just forcing creating something new. Why not just stick out what I have for a little bit longer as opposed to creating something new? That's what I've noticed in the past, of wanting to create something just because I've seen everybody else creating something new. Like, oh, I need to create a collection because it's spring. Oh, I need to create a collection because it's winter. Maybe you don't. Maybe people are just gonna buy what you have currently and what's like a regular in your shop until you make something else, if you want to make something else. So yeah, whenever I do experience a roadblock, I just sit back. Like I was saying, I just sit back and really take into account like maybe it's just not the time for me to create something new. Because whenever I do have that creative just drive and ambition to make something new, the ideas normally just come to me. Kind of like the Bridgerton collection that's coming up soon. Like those ideas, whenever I had them, I was like, okay, like this is what I have in mind. How can I translate this into a bookmark? And my creative vision just kind of flows from there. Have you ever had a close family or friend not support your business? If so, how did it make you feel? Since starting my own business, I have really had to reframe my mind around what support looks like. Support isn't always going to be someone buying something from you, nor should it ever have to just be that. Someone can support you by, engaging with your social media, sharing things on your social media. It could be offering expertise in different areas that they have expertise in. It could be showing up to your events or promoting your events. It could be encouraging you with their words, encouraging you with their wisdom, and just giving you direction. So I feel like the whole idea of support being, oh, people aren't supporting me or supporting you if they aren't buying product from you. That's not necessarily true. Maybe the product that you sell isn't necessarily something that they want to buy. Like, let's sit there with that. Like, if you are a friend of a friend, or how am I trying to say this? If you are a friend of someone who has their own business, and let's say they make something that you have no use for, let's be real, you honestly don't like it, why buy something if you don't like it? Or why buy something if you're just gonna sit? That is not the only way that you can show support. There's so many other ways to show support to someone other than just buying something from them. Of course, people are going to like and enjoy you buying things, like you're putting money in their pocket at the end of the day. But anyone who is a legitimate business and they want to grow beyond just like little pocket change, they're gonna know that not everybody likes their product, which is okay. Like, you have to be humble, you have to be realistic with that. You just have to be real. You have to get that realization through your head and not take offense to someone not buying something from you. So yeah, I made a whole video about how to support small businesses without spending money, because I have encountered so many people who say that they want to support me, meaning that they want to buy something, and I have to tell them like, oh, you don't have to buy anything. Support can come in so many different ways. If I'm able to link that video somewhere on this screen, I'm gonna link it. If not, I'll be sure to include that in the description box. I'm curious to know what your idea of support is. This came from Gina B 4605. So I definitely want to know what your idea of support is. I could have went completely left field and you agree that support comes in different shapes and sizes and forms, all that good jazz. So yeah, let me know what you think support is. Next question is, how do you keep yourself from falling into a comparison pit when it comes to your business? I log off of social media. I feel like being on social media aimlessly is literally the #1 way to fall into a comparison pit. And when I noticed that, I'm like, okay, I need to go on a social media fast. Like, is this glorifying God? No. Is this inspiring me to be diligent with my business, or is it making me feel like I'm not doing enough? So yeah, I just log off of social media for a little bit and I allow myself to just relax. And honestly, I just give thanks to God for where he's brought me, the vision that he's given me. And that's what I do. Next question. Hey, beautiful, where do you find vending opportunities? Firstly, thank you for the compliment. As far as finding vending opportunities, I am in a couple Facebook groups. Other than that, I just really stay in contact with different businesses that I have done pop-ups at, like as far as their location, and just overall groups that host these events. So I'll stay engaged on their social media just to see if they're promoting any upcoming events or looking for vendors. Next question is, what is your favorite piece of advice you have received since having your business? I would say that the best piece of advice that I've had since starting my business is just tracking everything, tracking my finances, tracking what's going out, what's coming in, and having a legit way to track it. So for me personally, I started using QuickBooks pretty early on, and I'm so grateful to have had QuickBooks. It was definitely an investment. It was something that I really took a leap of faith on. Having a QuickBooks so early really made things easier in the long run whenever it came time for me to do my taxes. It really set me up for success, and I was just able to it felt like I was able to make my business more legit. It felt like my business was legit because I could track everything. So I was able to tell if my business was profitable or not. Yeah, the best advice that I ever received was the advice to track my finances and ultimately to get a system like QuickBooks. Since owning your own business, what have you learned about yourself? Whew. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I have learned so much about myself. It's really hard to pinpoint just one thing because I have grown so much. I feel like with owning my own business, it has allowed me to be more confident within myself, or just more confident in who God has called me to be. It has allowed me to be more confident with my voice. Back before I didn't own a business, I guess you can say my confidence was kind of lacking because I never really had to voice. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint. My confidence has definitely increased, and I have learned that before my business, maybe I was less confident and I never did really realize why. With having my own business, I've had to just speak up a lot more. I've had to put myself out there a lot more. I've had to just be okay with who I am and showing up showing up authentically me and being confident in who I am while being authentic. That I have learned that about myself. What made you want to start this business? Like, what was the inspiration behind it all? Nora. Nora was the inspiration of it all. If you don't know, Nora is my baby. I think I mentioned a little bit earlier that I wanted to stay home with her. I didn't want to go back to work part-time, full-time, none of that. I didn't want anyone other than me watching my baby. Now that I look back on it, I would say that I definitely had postpartum anxiety, but at the same time, I know that the Lord instilled that in me at that time because he wanted me to do something like this. So for me, just trusting and believing in him during that time period and taking a leap of faith to start my own business, it Nora heard me talking about her, obviously. But yeah, Nora is the reason behind me starting this business, or starting my business at all, for me starting this YouTube, for me tracking this journey, for me documenting this journey. Nora is the reason behind it all. And I'm so very grateful for my beautiful girl. She is my biggest blessing. Hi, baby. All right, y'all, I am back. It has been about an hour and a half, 2 hours since the last question. My husband is home now, so he's able to watch Nora, so I shouldn't be getting any more interruptions. You'll probably hear some baby chitter chatter and my husband talking to her, but other than that, let's continue on with the video. The next question from YouTube is, do you ever have times when you struggle to stay motivated? If so, what is your biggest motivator to keep you going during those times? Yes, I do struggle to stay motivated at times. I'm gonna keep that answer pretty simple. My biggest motivator to keep going during those times is ultimately the promise that I prayed for, wanting to stay home with Nora, wanting to not wanting to have to put my daughter in childcare given the state of the world. So being with her during these prominent years of her life, early childhood, is just so important to me. So that is my motivator to continue to do what I'm doing, to continue to just pour into my business whenever I have time, to actually make that time for my business. It's honestly what keeps me going. Just knowing that, yeah, I don't want to work for anyone else, for one, full time or even part time. And then also, I want to stay home with my baby. Next question is, what is something that has surprised you about motherhood? Motherhood is full of surprises, from how you handle situations, how you parent, from how much you change. It's just a lot of changes, a lot of surprises within motherhood. What is something that has surprised you about motherhood? Surprise is the word I'm trying to focus in on here. What has surprised me about motherhood? I think the biggest surprise in motherhood is how fearless I have been. I speak up for my daughter for anything. Things that even probably would have been scary for me to speak up about in the past, I do it without a thought now. I am quick to ask people what they meant by something. I am quick to redirect language. So that is quite surprising. I feel like that is something, as far as just your motherly instinct. For me, for my motherly instinct at least, has been to use my voice more, to be Nora's spokesperson, because she doesn't have her own voice fully yet. So if there's anything that needs to be said, anything that needs to be addressed, I address it fearlessly, without hesitation, which, I guess you can say is surprising, but at the same time, I can't see it any differently. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. It's getting kind of deep in here, y'all. It's getting a little deep. Let's lighten it up a little bit, please. Let's go to this next question. What has been your favorite pop-up that you've done so far? I've done quite a few pop-ups. I've honestly lost count of how many pop-ups I've done. I need to just go back and count all the pop-ups I've done. I really don't know, and I feel like it might take me some time to just recollect all the ones that I've done. And that's just crazy, because I've only been in business for 9 months, but it feels like I've done quite a few pop-ups. But what has been my favorite pop-up? Oh, this is so hard. I'm gonna have to think about this for a little bit. Saying that I have one specific favorite is so hard, because I have favorite parts of each and every pop-up that I've done. It's just so hard, because my most successful pop-up isn't necessarily my favorite, because, for example, my most successful pop-up, it was extremely windy. I was stressed. I was tired. So it's like, that wasn't my favorite one. And then my first pop-up, I, you know, I overcame a lot of obstacles as far as just like the wind and not being prepared in that area. And it was also financially successful. But as far as just an overall favorite, I'm really trying to think of what has been my favorite pop-up of all time. This is so hard. I don't know. And I'm gonna let that be my answer. I don't know. I can't really identify one specific one that has been my favorite so far. I'm hopeful that here in 2024, I'll have one that sticks with me as 100% my favorite pop-up to date. So I'm very hopeful for that. That's a good question. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go on to my other YouTube post that I posted asking for questions. So let's get started on these. The first question is, I love all your videos and I find them so informative. My question is, do you ever travel to different cities for pop-ups? If so, how far have you traveled? No, I've never traveled to different cities for pop-ups. That is something that I'm really intentional about not doing. I think right now I do want to just stay local because I am still nursing. So I want to be able to be where my husband and my baby need me in case there's an emergency. So yeah, I haven't traveled to different cities yet. The furthest that I've traveled has literally been downtown, which is maybe 15 minutes away, like 10, 15 minutes away. So not far at all. And I don't plan on traveling for pop-ups anytime soon. My city does a really good job with hosting really good pop-ups where we are. So I think I'm just gonna stay local for a little bit. Next question, why did you stop doing GWA? Could you ever consider maybe bringing hints of it back for PPG? So GWA, for anyone who doesn't know, is my very first kind of business. But before that was a business, it was more of like an influencer type thing, I guess you could say. With Grow with Ari, I focused heavily on just like my plants that I had at the time and how I care for my plants, but I also sprinkled in quite a bit of just scripture and my life as a believer, my life as a Christian. So why did I stop doing GWA? So I felt like I had imposter syndrome, I guess you can say. It became more of like a performative type thing as far as me showcasing my relationship with God, and I didn't like that. So it was something that I prayed about. I never want to come off as inauthentic, and I felt like at times I was being inauthentic whenever I'm sharing this scripture and I haven't diligently been studying my Bible. I decided that it was no longer something I wanted to do as far as just like the business side and then even the social media, because for one, I don't want to be a teacher that isn't teaching properly as far as just the word and being diligent with my Bible studies and stuff. I feel like it was almost overwhelming during the time where I decided to close it down. Like it was something that, you know, I personally needed to just deepen my relationship with God on my own, as opposed to documenting how that journey was looking from the inside to the outside, if that makes sense. I just really needed to take a step back and focus on the word for me, as opposed to focusing on the word to share it with other people. Hope that makes sense. So I was able to just reground myself and get back into Bible study for me, get back into learning the word for me. And I wholeheartedly think that Grow with Ari served its purpose. I feel like the Lord was able to use me in more ways than one with that business, with that platform. And as far as just bringing some GWA content back or just merch, I think that's what you're asking. I don't know if I'll bring back anything as far as the business side of GWA. So with GWA, Grow with Ari, I made a lot of resin pieces. So I made resin coasters, resin earrings. I will say, as far as just the resin, I didn't like working with it. I didn't like working with it at all. And whenever I became pregnant, it was almost another reason for me to just stop with that because of all the fumes and how the product could be faulty at times. Like it would be sticky because I was working with resin. It just became a lot. It became something that I started to dread, something that it just didn't, I just knew like the Holy Spirit was telling me like, you gotta let it go. And it took a leap of faith, but I let it go. I still have the social media account because I have different relationships on there. So I'm a little hesitant on deleting the actual account, but I feel like I might eventually delete that account as well, because at this point, it's just like, why do I have it? But at the same time, I can say that I look back on it and I can remember like all the different relationships that I built, where I was spiritually at that time of just, you know, really getting into the word. And I was able to see also where I kind of fell off from it. And I thank God for putting in my heart like, hey, like, oh, it's a bird outside. But I thank the Lord for allowing me to realize and recognize that it was time to take a break from Grow with Ari. So yeah, I'm not sure if or when Grow with Ari will ever make a reappearance. It might not ever. So yeah, it definitely served its purpose. It had its own season and I'm so grateful for it. Thank you so much for following me along to PPG, Pedal Pink Gems, because you've been here for a long time if you know Grow with Ari. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Last question, very last question. I really love your content. Looking forward to the video. That wasn't even a question. That's the perfect way to end everything. First and foremost, I do want to thank everyone for leaving these questions and just really allowing me to open up. I really do appreciate this community. It's been a pleasant surprise that has come along with being a small business owner. I never thought that I would be the type to film a YouTube video, be the type to put myself out there. I was really shy growing up. So even knowing that I have a business, I have to speak to people, like what? I feel like fifth grade me would be like, what? I have to talk to people? I have to go work? No! Knowing that I have a voice, knowing that I am confident in my skin is amazing. So again, thank y'all so much for asking these questions and allowing me to open up a little bit more and share experiences with you all. It has been a beautiful journey so far, and I'm excited to see where this journey continues to lead. If you like this video, please don't forget to like it and also to subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.